Time.
Oh, well.
All righty.
Alrighty.
Well, look at the background and everything. The red. That looks good.
I'm waiting for it to come on.
We need red. I don't like
There we
this
go.
background here. It looks
Oh, I
too.
gotta shut this down too.
Good evening, everyone. Chris is distracted as usual. She's right there. Good evening, everyone. I'm just waiting for more people to come on before we get started and get into this.
More witnesses.
Wednesday night, right? Wednesday night? Wednesday
Yes.
night. Joining us tonight at the last minute, I contacted her. Hello, Kathy, Karen, Laura, John McGinnis. How's everyone doing? I contacted Donna about 6 o'clock and I was like, hey, Donna, you're coming on with us.
Gave you a lot of time to prepare, didn't they?
Well, I had to get dinner down.
Well, Celine, David, Luann, how's everyone doing?
Hi, everyone.
Brenda. Yeah, superstar. That's what they're calling. You're talking about me or Donna? Because I'm
Not me.
no, definitely me. I mean, people don't make a statue of just anybody. We'll talk about that too.
Oh, my God.
Hello, Carrie. Karen, how are you? So, it's been a little while since Donna's been on with us. Hello, Wendy. How you doing? And I thought maybe we'd go over the history because a lot of people know Donna's name. Donna, you see her on the live streams from the Creeper, and you don't really know who Donna is and where she got started and all that other fun stuff. So I thought we'd kind of go back to the beginning and fill you guys in on, Donna just didn't open up a store one day and with haunted objects and all that stuff. She is a person, believe it or not.
I'm a person.
I mean, there's not much depth, but
we're going to show everybody exactly why you two mind melds.
There's a little bit of depth there. But anyway, so Donna is a very dear friend of ours. Donna is like my older Polish sister. Did I say Polish? I mean, my oldest.
Oh.
my older sister, who I love very much, and I fight with.
18% Italian. 18% Italian.
18. I knew there was something.
He doesn't count that. You know that.
Oh, I do. That's like the part I love about her. But we'll take it back to the beginning for those of you guys who don't know. Donna first was a musician and an artist, right, Donna? Tell us about your background, if you don't mind.
For 40 years. Still am. Still trying to plug away at things. But, artist. I kind of put that on hold until I got old. And when I quit music, because I got old, I started doing art again. Sold online for 25 years and decided to open a brick and mortar. So that's basically it.
What was the name of your band again?
I had a couple names, but Too Bizarre is one. Martha's Monster was big in the Philadelphia regional area, and Odd Man Out. They were.
What was the most current version?
Too Bizarre.
So Donna and I have known each other for a while, and sometimes Donna shares a little too much. And this particular time, she's like, "Look at my videos," and they're on YouTube, and she shares with me.
Well, that one isn't.
That's not. Thank God, because children wouldn't be safe from that one.
Public.
But I watched this video that was very gothic, and people are in makeup, and other things are happening. But
Donna's gorgeous.
But the music is good. I will give her that. If you could get past the.
The music's good, but that was a show. So that was a big multimedia show. It had a story. So you were kind of taking it out of context. If you saw the whole show from beginning to end, it would make sense.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with what made sense. It had the shock value that got him, Donna. But he didn't expect that.
But Donna is the lead singer. Yes. Donna has a very good voice.
Yes, she does.
Very good voice.
Very good voice.
Writer. So
she kind of has to give a little bit of her family background too, because there are bits and pieces she's dropped on us along the way that's very interesting about your parents and your life.
Yeah. Like what?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering where you're going with this too.
Interesting life.
you've had that, but that's what I mean. You have really unique things that you take for granted. But when you told us, we were like, really? Like the circus, the whole different
Oh
things that you.
yeah. Well, my father was always into the circus and Houdini and all that, and he would take me always into the city, New York, to see the circus and all the tattooed people. Hence my tattoos. I like them. And he was a huge Houdini fan, Coney Island fan, and he would just tell us stories. And my grandparents, his parents, wanted me to be Carol Channing. That didn't work out so well because when I joined a rock band, they were just so disappointed in me as a human being because I didn't go to Broadway. Um, but yeah, they were interesting. And those grandparents were the antique dealers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then my great aunt on that side, she's the one that had the ability also to see things, and she lived to be 100. So I took care of her toward the end of her life, and I got to know her really well. Her sister was on Broadway or on in Ziegfeld Follies and the George White Scandal Girls. She was a showgirl back in the Roaring 20s. They were all like kind of risque, the sisters, and they all did very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
The again, the idea for when you said you got back into your art when you were older.
Yeah, I was an art major in school.
Right.
I never could stay within that box they wanted us to stay in.
Right.
My family didn't really have the money to send me to college, so we had one boy. They had enough to send one person, and it was the one boy. They wouldn't send the girls because they said it was a waste of money. You're just going to get married. You won't use your education.
Right.
Well, that's how they thought back then. So, I kind of did art, and then it became a hippie. Of course, I could do art with that. But then I got into music, and I was a writer, songwriter. I was actually performing professionally at 12 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I was doing big concerts, and I would panhandle down the shore and make like $100 a day. I was like a kid, and that's the route I decided to take, as far as creativity. So I rarely would paint or draw or sculpt because I was writing. When you're writing music, it's you need all that. And then I ended up with the 2 life partners in music, before I quit, and we wrote tons for like 20 years. We were together. We still are writing together. I was actually talking to them today. So
what was and guys, if you have any questions for Donna, I'm looking at the comments. So if there's anything you guys want to ask her, I'll ask her. Was the goal like all other bands to sign a record deal and get big and to tour? And was that what you were thinking all those years?
Sure, but I was working 4 nights a week for 15 years in bars and clubs and all over the area. And we were pretty well known. We were being considered for Disney. We were talking to all the big cheeses. But, at the end of the day, it was the creativity that was important.
Right.
Not the fame. And you can chase fame, but it'll kill you. And, you get so many letdowns, so many, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
You're telling me.
Never happened. So what happened was, we wrote a Fringe Festival show I was talking about. I don't know, it was about 12 years ago, and performed it, and I loved it. And we were writing a second, but we all got older, and it's hard because I would go out to play in a bar at 10 o'clock. I start. That's my bedtime.
Can't we start this concert at 2 p.m.? What's wrong with you people?
I know. And, putting that leather on. I had leather, all the makeup, all the partying.
Taking that leather off.
Yeah, and then you go after hours to a show. Yeah. I had a day job. I was doing engineering at the time and estimating. So I was going 24/7, 7 days a week. It got to me, and finally one night I'm sitting in a bar at 10 o'clock. I was ready to go to sleep and I had to start for 4 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like to my husband, I can't do this anymore. I'm not enjoying. Number one, the whole scene changed. and I was not enjoying it
Yep.
anymore. And I was always like 15 years older than the people I was playing with.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they had plenty of energy, not me. I was done. I'm like, I'm done, man. And I really wasn't, because we continued to write and record after. As a matter of fact, I will be posting some of that on the Creeper Gallery down the line. Working on that now. So I'm still playing with it a little. I don't have a lot of time to spend with music anymore,
Right.
but
Right.
no, I went back into the arts and just started with Gothic Dead dolls. They were easy to ship.
Right.
Had a website for 25 years and sold 5,000 pieces.
Oh, did you really? See, I didn't even know that.
I did.
So
And,
what was the name of the website? Was it Creeper Gallery or was
Dark
it
Creation.
Dark Creations?
Dark Creation, and I did a couple horror conventions, so I met a lot of those guys. And then, just selling online. Mo, sorry. Oh,
No.
Oh, Mo. Oh, Mo.
wait a minute.
I
Uh-oh.
was gonna make himself
You're
known.
good.
You're good.
All right. So, I did that for probably 10 years. And I did it 25. And then, I lost a doggie. My first doggie. And I was paralyzed and didn't want to do anything. And decided to open the Creeper Gallery just to move forward,
So that idea originally was art, right? That
art.
was just
No, it
that's
was
it.
a gallery with oddities. Original.
Okay. Because when I met you and when I first came in there, there was all of your artwork. The back room was in the red room,
Right.
and there were
The-
two cases that
Right.
had some smaller haunted objects in it. And I tell this story all the time. Um, I at the time we were doing our cable access show in Woodbridge, and I was constantly looking for new material, new people to interview, and all that other stuff. And I came across an article that said something about this person who owned a store. Everybody knows I'm a huge Ghost Adventure fan. That supplied Zach with a lot of things for his museum in Vegas before it opened.
Yeah.
Could you go a little bit into that, Donna, and talk about how that whole thing came to be?
Well, what happened was the business kind of went flat.
Right.
And I said, well, what can I do to, spice it up a bit? So I always had an ability to know when an item was haunted, plus other things, but I kind of shut it all down. I don't have time in my life for that. So I've always collected like items that had attachments.
Well, let's stop right there. When you say no, is it a feeling or is it describe no? How do you know? What does knowing mean?
It's hard to explain, and I'm sure anybody that can do it, it just comes to me. When I can look at 1,000 items and go that quick down the list and pick one or two out that have attachments. I can just sense that there's something with them. And then once I bring them home and live with them, I get names, stuff starts coming. But what I never wanted to be the psychic medium that sells her own haunted items. So I wanted, because it's not tangible, and anybody, and a lot of people do, they can make up stories, they can, whatever to sell it. So I thought, well, if I can get a medium to confirm that it's got an attachment, and then of course I met you, and I thought, well, if I let you guys investigate, that's
well. Prior to that, we had the Zach Baggins thing.
Oh,
let's not jump ahead to us yet. We've got time here, Don.
He saw us on Instagram. Yeah, he saw us on Instagram and some of the art we did, and he contacted us, and he liked my art. And he said, I never bought a piece of art in my life, but I love your work. And, could you do a video of the shop? What we have. He had just bought the building in Vegas. He didn't start doing it yet. And he contacted us through Instagram, and then we had a call from him, which we talked. So we did the videos, and he ended up buying 3/4 of the shop.
Yeah.
We had to close down for 2 weeks because it was our busy season and there was no merchandise.
Oof, man, that's crazy.
And
What a problem to have, Donna.
It's a bad, but then if you could see Mo, he's flipping a pillow around the bed.
We hear him.
That's what he's doing. He's like throwing it all over.
Crazy.
But so we did the video and sent the stuff out. He had a guy pick it up. And then he called me and asked if I could create items for his sideshow room, life-size props. So I made about 6 or 8 of those.
Wow.
And then he continued to keep buying for the year. And then toward the end of that year, he bought 3/4 of the shop again.
Now, this was him directly, right? This was his people.
Call me and say, I want that. Can I have that? What can you do on that? And then I made several items that he wanted. I still owe him some things like Jack Kevorkian head for his mannequin. But then, I kind of helped him with his signage, stuff like that. And he said, come out to Vegas. I'm going to buy the building next door. I can have the Creeper Gallery next door. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to be in Vegas. So, yeah, that was it basically. And he's, a decent guy. I like him.
I watch that show. I love that. You know how much I love that show.
I couldn't watch it then because, and it got to me. And then I watched the first couple years. I thought he was good in the beginning. And then it got real dramatic. And I'm like, that's a good show.
But Joe watches it, right? Your husband?
Joe watches it religiously.
Joe and I are Ghost Adventure guys.
I would listen to it when I was working in the office. And when I was talking to him on the phone one night, I said, my husband loves you. I said, I don't watch your show, but my husband loves you.
Oh, my God.
I said that to him. And then I said, could you, say hi to him for me? Because he was watching it as I was talking to Zach.
That's funny.
Kind of weird. So I took the phone out and I said to Joe, look, someone wants to talk to you. And he goes, who is it? I said, Zach Bagans. He goes, get out of here. I said, just talk to him.
That would be cool,
He was so thrilled.
That would be cool, man.
Yeah, Zach Bagans on the phone while he was watching. And
John would lose his mind. Well, he would lose his mind.
Joe goes, Zach, I love you, but I love Aaron. I'm like, oh, my God. But he's a cool guy. He is cool. I still don't watch the show.
Wow. You should be ashamed of yourself. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
No, because honestly, the Zach I dealt with and the Zach I talked to him 2-3 times a week. Yeah. He'd call me in the middle of whenever. And he's so different from that show.
Well,
of course.
It's so different as a TV.
Has your artwork always been that dark side that you do?
Yeah.
I love it. It's unique. But...
Yeah. My mother used to call me the black sheep. Everything I did, even the music I write, is kind of got a dark theme.
Yeah, it's got an edge to it.
Yeah, all of it. So, yeah, it's always where I was because I was a little different as a kid, I
don't think I've ever seen a very light-hearted piece ever from you.
That's why we get along.
I know that's why you get along. You guys have that dark.
We have a 12-year-old sense of humor, and we both like dark.
I think you both have something dark eating at your souls that you're trying to get out there.
I don't think it's dark because I'm really kind of a chill person. I'm not stressed all the. I think that's a way to get that darkness out is to create it.
Exactly. You
that's
just
the
proved
trick.
My point right there. He's creative. You're creative, just in different ways.
That's the trick.
Well, I have to do it. As a creator, an artist, whether it's music, I used to write kids' books when my kids were little. I have to do it, and I have to do it every day.
Yeah.
I can't sleep. I then get miserable if it's stuck.
Yep.
There was periods of time where I didn't do anything, of course, and I was miserable.
This is what I found about creative people like you and John, is that you guys can't sit still for 2 seconds. No. John cannot sit still for 2 seconds. It's a miracle. Even when he's watching something he's really interested in, he still working, whether on his computer, on his phone. His brain is going. He's writing stuff down. And I'm like, I need to read. That's how I ground myself. And he's just like, no, work, because all of this stuff is got to come out.
I read, but it's boring to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather live in my head and figure out new things to do.
Yeah, me too.
New ways to do things. Well, you do it, and new ideas. And whether, like I say, it be writing, music, making art, sculpting, whatever. I always have these floods of things in my head, and unless I get them out, I'm cranky.
Okay. Somebody asked Donna, when you're not working or doing designing, what do you do? What do you do in your personal time?
That's all she does.
Time. I have zero personal.
She's dealing with that crazy dog that
I have
around her right now.
Just being good right now,
but
I do not have personal time. I'm fine with that because
me too.
I can't sit. I just can't sit and be quiet.
Yeah, me either. It's a waste of time to me.
It's a waste of life. I only have so many hours in the day that I can create for the world.
Yeah.
You know, and I need to write a song or sculpt a thing or draw. I have to, you know. So I work on art like a couple hours. I work on art in the morning. I do all the business end of the businesses in the afternoon. And then in the evening, I play around with music. I'll talk to friends maybe. You know, but I don't have free time. I don't have zero downtime. So there is no hobbies. I used to ride a motorcycle, but other than that, no.
So people are asking questions that pertain to the Creeper Gallery. So fast forward again. I met Donna. I reached out to her. We got along on the phone, like the very first phone call. We got along. And I said to her, what do you think about me coming up there, interviewing you, finding out about the shop, and maybe doing an investigation at another date? And she's like, well, come up there, meet me, you know, and you know, we'll talk and you could film that, whatever. So literally why I'm talking to her, and we hit it off right away. I remember she's telling me the story about Madeline. Yeah. And we're talking about the building. We're talking about the objects that are in that one case. And I'm standing there interviewing her. And she's telling me about Madeline and the toys that belong to Madeline. And if you mess with them or anybody's stuff would come off the walls and there would be damage. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. How many times have I heard this story? And the chain behind me like leapt off of the shelf and started swinging. And I reacted on camera and went, anybody see that? And Donna was just like, yeah, that's like,
yeah, it's normal
all the time.
And it was your haunted cabinet.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, we got to come in here. And again, Donna and I hit it off fairly quickly to where, you know, there's something wrong with her because she gave me the key to the building like in no time at all.
I gave it to you after a while. I don't know why, because I didn't feel like driving in and sitting there.
That's true. But
I trust you, you know, and it's better I'm not there. I'd rather you find out for yourself.
Right. And that was part of it. The medium who I really liked and Donna was using at the time, Janet was Scottish and awesome. Yep. And I loved watching her and listening to her do what she do. And I just said to Donna, maybe, you know, we could talk about being an additional piece to this where we come in and just try to document and video. And then we both got together and it was just, it worked. And here we are 6 years later.
Synergy.
You know? Yeah. And yeah, she drives me crazy. Yes. She's very demanding. Yes. But there is a statue of me now that resides in the back of the store.
Oh my God.
With there's now going to be a cup in front of it with where you put money in it.
Did you lift up the jacket to see the little wiener?
No.
Oh. I
doubt there is. It probably hangs on the back of the cabinet. So big. But there is like the saint that I'm not a real religious person, but they have those Italian festivals where you can pin the 50s and the 20s. If you're in there and you want to go over to my monument and just pin money to it, Donna will make sure it gets to me. So Donna, what made you go from the 2 cabinets to?
Because they were conversation pieces at first, right?
Well, when I did the 2, I didn't know how it would go over. Well, actually, I started with 1, the smaller one. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to put it in and see what kind of reaction I get. I don't know if people would have liked it or bought anything, but I thought I'd try it. And it had a huge audience. Like, people couldn't get by. They'd all be standing around the cabinet with 5 things in it, reading everything. And then, of course, there were a million questions about, the stuff in there. So then I went to 2 because I got a couple more items in, and boy, was a hit. So when COVID came, I lost my business partner at the time. She ran out of funds and had to leave. I said, well, I'm going to reopen. In my storage room, I decided to take that storage room, which is small. But for New Hope, I'm glad I had it. And, fill it with as many things as I could and make it an experience in itself, the room itself, and see how it goes. And wow.
Here we are all these years later.
There's always like a million people in there, and I get all the stories, but it's been fine. I wish I had more room, but I don't. So.
But you enjoy that part of it, right? I mean,
I do enjoy it. I enjoy all of it, really. I enjoy talking to people. And now that I'm out of the closet as far as being able to spot haunted items, of course, that creates a whole nother issue. But no, I do enjoy. I've enjoyed meeting everybody, and they come in and they tell me their ghost stories of what's going on in their house, what happened to their grandma. I hear them all, and it's a cool thing. And I think people like the fact that they can actually talk about it to somebody laughed at.
Right.
So, it's interesting. It really is interesting. I wish all the people that drop haunted stuff off to other people dropped it off to me.
I mean,
that's pay a fortune for my stuff.
Yeah, but here's the thing too, and you and I have talked about this many, many times. How many? I don't know what else to call them, dealers, whatever you want to call them. How many other people on these various platforms are selling haunted dolls, haunted this, haunted that, haunted? There are a dime a dozen now, but there isn't
when I started, there was nobody.
Right.
I started, and I didn't worry about that stuff then. Not that you can do anything about it.
Right.
But I knew in the beginning that I had to hand people some kind of authentication.
Right.
Like some kind of certification that has been through more than one brain telling a story, or one cat ball going off once in 3 days.
Right.
That doesn't make it haunted. Anything can be doing that. So I had to find a way to really do it right.
Yep.
Which to this day, even the people that have copied me, and they're constantly I've had people want me to come down and show them how.
Yeah, you see, we talked about that.
Are you crazy? Yeah, you want me to help the competition?
We get the same thing, believe it or not.
What I do is different, and I'm happy that I was like the first.
Yeah, innovator. Definitely an innovator and a trendsetter.
Yeah, I always try to think of new ways to make the experience good. But there's only so much you can do to verify everything, and we do what we can. Now we do the auctions, and we do a lot of things, not events, because I have no room in the place. You've seen the place; it's like full.
Yeah.
So I have nowhere to put anybody. But I like what I do, and I like the variety. I like the fact that there's art there. I sell a lot of art in New Hope, a lot.
You got a great partner now too.
Well,
yeah.
She talked about me.
Well, that's no. Of course. I mean, the synergy, the perfect. That it's not just the concept of and the creativity of what you came up. It's that you had the ability to put together the right team.
Yes.
Of people that are specializing in what they do to further this along.
I try, and I have to have. I'm funny with people. I'm kind of reclusive most of the time. I have very small circle of friends, and I have to really trust the person. I have to feel I can, just be me around the person. You know what?
Yeah, me too.
I need the person to be trustworthy. But I've met a lot of mediums and psychics. They come in constant. They want to work with the creeper gallery. But I click with some people, and I try to trust with that. I try to work with people that I automatically click with. So that's the only way you can do it.
I think so too. Going back to the early days, when the first investigation, I'll never forget it, because this is what drew me right away to Donna, and especially when, like, the items that she was starting to acquire, when we really started going in there more. This is after we did the cable access show, and then we contacted her and we went in there and did more. I'll never forget this as long as I live. There was literally a piece of wallpaper, that had like
the
matter,
murder.
like brain matter, blood on it,
and finger scratches, bloody finger scratches,
from a murder scene. Then there was this really freaky gypsy. I think it was like, what was it again? Underwear or something? I can't remember. Oh,
doll wrapped in lingerie.
It freaked me out to no end, but
that freaked me out.
It's a little bit of black magic there.
My curiosity was like, I was like, oh my God, this is like, I died and gone to heaven.
What about the piece that he thought was driftwood that was a foot? Now that's the funny one.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was driftwood, but it wasn't.
But that stuff just piqued my interest to no end. It was just like, wow, I can't wait to dive in and see if we can find anything, and what we can find, if we can add to it, add more to it, whatever. And I loved every minute of it. And again, we go through the years now, and there's like a best of reel in my head of,
there's always something cooler coming down the line.
Yeah, but
I think my favorite moment is when you were talking to Donna and you were holding the voodoo dolls that she got in, and you were flipping it and looking, and you realized there were real teeth in the private areas.
That freaked me out. I don't do bones and body parts and stuff. That kind of freaks me out. I'll be honest with you. But
Curtis,
that's what I mean. Curtis Fisher was the gnome, and the guy, he went to jail, and he was
tapped a woman, and
yeah. And it was the first ever time we SLS something manipulating itself. I don't know how else to say that and make it watcher viewer friendly. But again, you go down to the curse box. If you don't know what the curse box is, there's a whole episode on our YouTube channel. That was one of the worst and best experiences I've ever had as a paranormal investigator, in proving to me that curses are real. And that there are consequences for messing with things that have that kind of power. I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, they did. And I've had a couple things like that. And like now, even again, I have the Rita stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of strange. And I have you didn't do it yet, the Exorcist box, but you don't know what that is until you do it, right?
No.
Like I say, the tribal stuff. I watched what you just sent me for the auction. I said to John on text, I said, ain't nobody gonna buy that.
we actually were going back and forth, because I watched the whole entire investigation, and then I cut clips for the auction. I kind of do a 2 minutes to 5 minutes out, depending on how much is there. And there was nothing but bad with those tribal stuff. And she texted me. She's like, I don't think anybody's buying that. I said, I wouldn't. But there are people out there that want that stuff for sure.
Well, there are people that want it, though.
Yeah. The censors. I don't like the censors.
Well, actually, there are people that want the censors.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
They want the box. There are people, they want the bad stuff. But most people just want a more positive energy, if they're going to buy it. There are people, though, that probably would bid on it, that, they're into that. So I've forgotten about that. I knew it wasn't going to be good.
So when let's talk about that, though. Let's take, for instance, Jack, the curse box, the Latin religion.
Bible.
I don't even know what to call that book, but
it's a Bible.
Is it?
It's a religious book.
Yeah, it's not a Bible.
Yeah,
it's a Bible.
But if someone were to contact you and they haven't, let's say in the past, about those particular types of things where that, there's a red sticker on there, danger, whatever, in your own mind, what do you then turn around and say to those people?
I can't sell it to you.
Okay.
I actually, this past Sunday, some man was in and he wanted one of my items that was deemed dangerous. And I told him I wouldn't sell it to him. So, and I said, it's not just him. I'm not selling them. I don't sell things that are dangerous.
Zach wanted your cursed box and you won't.
He still wants
it. Yeah.
But, he may get it someday. He may.
Yeah.
He may.
Someone like him, I can understand. I mean, he's got a museum where things are going to be kept,
I'd sell stuff to him. I would. Because he can case it. He can do what he wants with it. But he knows what to do with it. As much as any of us do. There's only so much you can control with that stuff. So I don't know the ritual stuff. The ritual stuff can go either way.
Right.
It just, it's not good. It wasn't made for a good purpose. It doesn't mean that it's going to harm you. Obviously, they've been back there for a year. They haven't harmed anybody.
So people are asking, Donna, like, I'll rephrase your question, Patricia. She's saying about neutralizing the bad stuff. You say that you live with everything before you bring it in.
I do.
How, again, things like that, have you ever had an instance in your home? And I know with the cursed box you did.
Well, big time. I've had incidents in my house where I've had to take them out of the house and put them in the car.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have that whole other space that you use.
I have and actually there's probably 30 or 40 haunted items up there.
Right.
So I haven't brought them in yet. I haven't even worked with them yet, but eventually, they'll rotate in. It depends.
I mean, are you worried? Again, God forbid, knock on wood, I probably shouldn't even put it out there, but are you ever worried that it could affect one of the animals? Again, anything you bring in there?
Yeah. I mean, you always have to have that worry, you
right.
know. But I was kind of blindsided by the box because I didn't expect all that.
No. That box, I'll be honest with you.
And that really educated me about.
Right. Me too.
You both, and I was witness to, you both were warned repeatedly.
Oh,
repeatedly.
Warned my whole life, but that doesn't bother me.
Right.
But I never thought it would. Here's what I thought. I thought if it's going to go after anybody, it would go after me. And I'm okay with that.
Right.
I can handle that. But, I never realized there are things that'll go after the things. It won't hurt you, but it'll go after everybody around you.
Yep.
I don't like that. And I don't know how you tell what kind of spirit will do that. I think it's because there's so many attached.
Yeah.
I just think it's a powerful piece.
And that one in particular, I remember mostly everything about what was going on. And I think that piece in particular kind of lulled you into believing that they were friendly and they just wanted to tell their story. You were talking to it often in your home. Right. And I think they really did lower you into a false sense of, I'm good, whatever, and kind of tricked us into open that thing. I think we were definitely influenced into open that thing.
Here's the thing with that. I was William, who I used to talk to every day in the box. William was fine. And on the day we opened it, William kept saying, don't do it. Don't open it. The damn ghost is telling me not to open it. Right? And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm going to open it, because I was cocky. But
you also had a very unhealthy connection with that box.
Yeah.
No, it's not an obsession. I'm a funny person.
I said a relationship. He said obsession. I said an unhealthy relationship with that.
She's nuts.
No, I was just trying to see how much I could get out of him.
Right.
And he was talking.
I get that. I understand that perfectly. But on the outside looking in from the people, like from your viewpoint, that's how you felt. But watching you with that box and how you interacted with it and how you didn't want to let it go and that you really did have a very unhealthy relationship or tie to that box.
I still do.
Yeah. To a certain
That's why
extent,
she won't let it go.
not as
She'll never
bad.
let that thing
No,
go.
I don't think she will.
Nope.
So.
Well, I have a whole other perspective on it now. So, I still, he said a lot. I have a book full of stuff that he talked about, and I still trying to decipher it to this day. And like I said, he warned me. He warned me also about the plague. He warned me about a lot of things, not just opening the box. So I'd like to figure out, if I get a minute, what he wanted to tell me, all these things that he wanted to tell me. And but it was kind of, it was a puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and here's the thing that stands out to me too. Again, somebody asked where that up, where to watch that. If you go on New Jersey Paranormal YouTube,
they put it down there.
You'll see it. Just yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the one thing that stands out in hindsight to me is that I like Jeanette. I believe a lot of what Jeanette said, but I don't have 100% faith in any medium. It's just me. I just don't. I'll jump in regardless.
I have faith in myself.
But Jeanette was adamant. If you watch the video, and even if you
extremely.
watched after we opened it, Jeanette said, "Don't open it. Don't open it." And then when she saw that we were like, "Yeah, we're going to open it," she said, "Look, whatever you do for protection, triple, quadruple, do it tenfold, because it ain't going to be enough." She actually said that in the video.
Yep.
My Wiccan elder friend that helped as well, she's passed, but she said the same thing. Don't do it. Don't do it. And she had all the ley lines and all this stuff that they do. I don't get half of it. But she also told me to put stuff in the four corners of the yard. Don't open it inside. She gave me some rules to follow, and Jeanette did. And we followed them all for the most part. But honest to God, you can't stop them.
No.
I don't care if you put a
but you know what? They were sort of contained for the moment for a while until we opened it. And even Jeanette brings this up in the video. Like I said, I remember it like it was yesterday. When we interviewed her after opening up the box, she said some were released, but there's more there.
Oh, a lot more, yeah.
There's
stuff there for sure.
And then you guys put it away, locked it away. You put protection around it, and unknown to you.
Oh, don't go. You got to bring this up.
It came out at another time that you didn't, and then something actually happened, and you learned even that potential and that power is still there.
Oh, it's there, and that's why I have the only key to get in.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with it. Not after what happened. I wouldn't want to mess with it.
Just in general, I wouldn't want anybody to be able to open, to show or touch or show and tell. I just don't. I'm not done with it. Whether I destroy it, sell it, I'm not done with it. But I'm not ready to separate yet.
Well, another bad one that we've talked about before, and we'll go over this one briefly, was this religious book. Now, this religious book, Donna acquired it, and it belonged to a nun, right? A nun had been.
It belonged. It belonged to a nun. I got it from a dealer who got it from the sister of a nun, a sibling of a nun that had it in her possession when she passed.
And she was kind of watching over it, being the caretaker of it for many, many, many years. So we were warned, or Donna said that the pages would flip themselves and all this other stuff. And
she would go into a trance.
Right. That was it too.
Right.
Trance. So we don't know how to read Latin. Either one of us. So we, of course, brought somebody in who knows a lot about religion, who could also read Latin. And this person of their own volition said, I want to do this. I want to do it. And boy, oh boy, that's another thing. I've never seen anything like that before either. And wow.
We watched him go into a trance. Blew our minds.
And yelling The Exorcist.
And then the guy, literally, his life went down the crapper.
Yeah. It was like he was conjuring.
Yep. Yeah, we never actually investigated that book.
No, and we won't.
Oh, you won't?
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't speak Latin, but I mean, I speak pig Latin.
I'd do it.
Well, you two would. That just makes sense. But from
yeah, but we're talking about like the bad things. I mean, the bad things are the ones you remember. But again, here's why I respect and I think Donna is different than anybody out there that's selling their fake crap online and all that stuff. It's not just the dark, evil, demonic, whatever. You could also have a child that drowned in a flood, a woman who lived to 104. You know,
80% is good.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Honestly, there's a very small percentage that is really dangerous.
And some of it's misunderstood.
I believe that too, but there is dangerous. Trust me.
Of course.
I just think it's such a small percentage of what's out there. I think the bulk of what we see are sadness, our children, are just people. They're people, right? And so that's why I just don't want to bring in generic dolls. I bring in dolls because people like them. And it's hard to find, although I do find a lot of dolls that have interesting backgrounds.
Yeah.
But I like to find things that are going to teach you something.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to teach you something about that you don't know about, but not bad, but just, history. I like history.
Somebody mentioned the black cape. The black cape is definitely one that will always be with me because that's the first time I ever learned about serious attachment. And I had never experienced something, again, Amy Allen refers to it as jumping. I'd never experienced a spirit jump me like that and just not leave me. I couldn't get away from the cold around my body. She just wouldn't leave me alone. And then when it turns out the person who purchased her said she saw the face of the woman and she was trying to kind of choke her, that cape is dangerous.
Dangerous. But it's dangerous. But the person that has it, and this is a piece of soul, found a way to make that spirit
happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean about it's about some you can find that balance with.
As long as they were human to begin with, you can coexist. Obviously, I do all the time with really dangerous things.
Right.
But you just don't ever take them for granted because
you gotta have your mind kind of in out. You gotta be curious, cautious. You gotta have those two things in your head going on to where if, again, I've learned, dumb as I am at the ripe old age of 55, that you got to trust that intuition. When Sister Mary Rita, I sat next to that first object and my head was killing me.
And that's when I said, you're the nun.
and I started zoning out. And at that point, I should have said, not doing that one because...
No, you didn't know because I was on that night.
Yeah.
Talking about your headache. And I texted, I said, are you near the nun?
She did.
She did.
Because that's what.
And that was a holy crap moment for me because I read your comment. I looked to my left. It was 2 feet away from me. And I'm looking right at it like, that's who it is.
That case. And when I spoke to the woman that lived in that house, that's how she was 24/7.
I couldn't imagine.
And she was crazy. And that's why I'm not doing the case anymore because she kind of went off the deep end. I can't help her.
Yeah.
But, she was saying the same things that she was constantly confused. She was headache, jittery, and then you're saying that, and I'm going, you're near the nun because that's what she just told me that's what she experiences all the time.
There are some spirits that have whether they're good or bad, they can be very, very strong, and there's others that are more meek and mild.
Well, I just cut the video for her for the Catherine. Remember the vanity set? It was the mirror, and Armand did a reading for that, and first thing out of his mouth was depression. I feel sadness.
Oh,
remember you and I were handling that. What did we both feel?
Depressed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did too. But
and they have that kind of effect. Is there anything that I didn't mention that you kind of stands out for you? That ones that you acquired that were kind of on your favorite list for whatever reason?
Well, I liked, I had the one little tiny wax doll that it was in that original case where the wallpaper and all was, that, her whole family was axe murder. It was an axe murder.
Oh, I remember that one. Do you remember that one?
They killed the whole family with the axe and they never found the murderer. And that doll belonged to one of the children that was killed with the axe. That one I liked.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Then I had the skates of the little girl that was shot in the head roller skating in Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about. It runs the gambit to where we go from talking to the sweet old lady who lived to 101 to the little child who was in the orphanage and died from a whooping cough or whatever, tuberculosis, to the guy who was a pervert. And
we've done the gambit.
Like when I buy, I'm working off of photos, and most of the time I do buy in person a lot too, but I don't sense if they're really bad or really good or sad right off the gate. I just know that there is an attachment. So if it's an interesting item to me, you know, older, little history, I jump on it. And then until I live with it, I really don't know what kind of spirit is attached. So, yeah.
But that's a great part of the process because it goes through you doing what you just said you do to I like to do our thing before the medium even touches it or looks at it or whatever, because I don't want to be influenced by anything other than the card has this basic information that we're kind of going off of as a baseline, and then we take it wherever it goes from there.
And Donna doesn't give us all the information. No. She just gives us just enough to just kind of like maybe scratch the surface and keep going.
Yeah, and then the medium provides that, and then you get kind of the fullest picture that you're going to get based on those three things.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
What were you investigating when I left the room?
That was the dragon-headed thing. I don't know what that was called. Oh, yeah,
that Tibetan thing?
Yeah.
Sold that.
Did you really?
It's a man up in, I think he's in New Hampshire or Connecticut or somewhere. Yeah, he's bought a couple things. And like I say, there's a lot of people that still want the items if they're ritual or might attach. Now, he's bought several things, and he really was interested in that bell. So I gave him a good price and sold it to him. Yeah.
So
he saw the investigation, too. So they do watch the investigations.
Yeah.
So people are asking, of course, I wanted to wait until we were at the end to get to this, the basement.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been down there. You're the one who told me about it. Us about it, actually. When we talk about that. You feel uneasy down there all the time, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, when we first rented and moved in there, you know, of course we wanted to use the basement, and all you have to do is go down. It's wet. It's got rats. It's, you know, no way. And you have to go down to fix the AC sometimes, or, you know, the electric breaker. We hate it. And the psychic that used to be next door, she lived there 18 years. She never went in the basement. Once she went. She said, I can't go down there. I can't go down there. So we used to laugh at her. So then we put the counter right next to the basement door that time, and all you could smell is cigar smoke.
Yeah, I remember.
Cigar smoke. And my business partner was like, I can't take it, you know. I said, well, open the door and see if there's somebody smoking in there. Nobody. And then the one night you were there and Jeanette was there, we opened that door and this big wave came up the steps of cigar smoke. And everybody in there could smell it. And it was crazy. I think it's the guy that kept the kids. And it's just my husband. He'd been going down for years. And just in the last 2 years, he says, I can't go down there anymore. It's really, he can't go down. He doesn't like, he was just down there.
What did you think of those footsteps? You heard them live, right? Or did you
I've heard those footsteps upstairs when I'm in the shop. Wow. So they are in the shop all the time. It's hard to hear when people are walking around.
Right.
Just if I'm just by myself, or John's by himself, we'll hear it, or the people that work for us. So we're used to that. If you can remember, it was a long time ago, and somebody was there, and you could hear footsteps like high heels.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, the footsteps were above you.
Yep.
So whoever it was upstairs.
Yeah. I know. That freaked me out.
The basement, that was pretty good. The EVPs you got and all that. That archway, that is freaky back there.
Oh my God. There's something back there for sure. But that part of the basement, that half, I think, has whoever it is. There may be more than one.
Well,
they're over there.
I think they're on both sides, but
not that night.
That other side's obviously more active.
Yeah.
Gotta understand that was part of the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
They'd bring up 50 to 100 slaves, runaway slaves, and they'd live in those tunnels.
Yeah.
So they'd find somewhere. And those tunnels are full of rats. And God knows people could have died down there. I mean, they're all under the town. So I'm sure there was a lot of loss of life. And your one EVP sounds like it could have been like an older black man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that.
Here's the thing. Before I started, I'm on the phone with Donna because there was a thunderstorm and lightning, and the power kept going out in the building. And then I went down there and I said, Donna, there's no lights down here. And she's like, yeah, try. And then her husband Joe got on. He's like, try this switch, try that switch, and there were no lights. There was just one thing I had to plug in, and it had one singular light that lit up half the basement. And I'm like, oh, this is like every horror movie I've ever seen. Thunderstorm, no power, one light. Here we go.
Well, I think they all need bulbs. I don't go down there, so the bulbs probably burn out, or maybe her electric was shut off next door. So maybe some of those lights operate off of her electric, not mine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. When Jay was with me on the Sunday before, he went down for something and there were no lights. Well, I forgot to tell you that, though.
Well, thank you for sharing that now. But to wrap up real quick for the people that don't know, just tell the story about Madeline for the people that don't know, because that's really never talked about anymore with everything else you've got going on there.
No, and it's probably Madeline walking around.
That's what I was thinking, to be honest with you.
It could be her because she loves that area. It would have been right between the counter and the red room.
Right.
She always opens that Madame Clara cabinet. We have to lock it some days. It's so bad. She likes to swing it into people when they come out of the room. But we've heard her and seen her, and I think
she's a child, right? And the rumor is that she.
So when we rented the building, we're getting ready. We were a month, so we were painting and putting shelves and furniture in and getting stuff ready. And every time we would come in, if something would be moved, something would be torn down, something would be thrown or broken. And it's like, what the hell is going on, right? So after we opened, we had a lot of things go on. She would put cards in front of the door, our business cards. We'd come in, they'd be all over the floor. Or toys, or she'd tear things off. I had one ram's head she knocked off the wall 4 times, no matter where I put it. My business partner saw her throw a crow, a taxidermy crow. From the
About when you got hurt because somebody messed with her toys.
But
that was her hand, right? When it was bloody, something happened?
So, but the problem was I had a woman come in before we opened and said, have you seen her? And I'm like, no. Seen who? And they said, the little girl. This place is haunted. We investigated here 35 years ago. And there's a girl here, and she keeps showing herself. And we're like, no, we see things going on, but we're not ready to call it a ghost. It could have been just we didn't put the nail in tight enough or something. And then after 2 weeks after we opened, we definitely knew we had a ghost. And we had a chair by the door, and it had like an animal skin on it. And every time we come in, it looked like somebody sat in it all night. We keep it straight so people didn't sit in the chair. And then a man came in, this big man, and he said, well, I'm a hoodoo priest. I didn't know what the hell a hoodoo priest was. And he said, Madeline is sitting right in that chair. I'm like, oh, good. Madeline?
I have her name.
Well, yeah, we call her Madeline. And then about 3 months after that, it was really like poltergeist activity. I mean, that's how much. And so much, and it was so visible, and she would do it whether people were there day or night. It didn't matter. She just was busy and destructive, very destructive.
Yeah,
it was driving us crazy. We didn't know what to do. And then that woman came back again, that same woman, and she said, have you seen her? I'm like, Madeline? She goes, well, we don't know her name, but have you seen her? I said, we haven't seen her, but we know she's here. And she said, get her some toys to play with. Maybe she'll play with them.
Wow.
With your things. So I went right to Goodwill and I bought a basket of toys that a little girl would like. And Sure enough, we gave her the toys. She stopped all the poltergeist activity unless you touched them.
Right.
If you touched them, she went berserk, or
Yeah.
would go crazy. And so we kept trying to tell people. We had to finally hide them because people wouldn't listen.
Right.
And we've had a number of, like, especially like children and things come in that actually see her and talk to her. We had one little boy, he was like 6 or 7 with his dad. He was in with his dad and mom. He was very quiet, and he came around the table, and he's going to go out the door, and he started screaming because they were leaving. And the mom's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" "She won't let me leave," he kept yelling. And I'm like, "What do you mean she won't let you leave?" And the little boy goes, "She's standing there.
Oh,
go out the
something.
door." So he saw her, right?
Yeah.
I had to explain to the parents who he was seeing. And then I had an older man in his 80s with his wife. They came in on a Friday night when one of our staffers was there. And he yells. He's looking at the haunted case. He yells. And the guy that was working for us said, "Are you okay?" He goes, "I just felt a tug on my pocket and turned around and saw a little girl in white."
Oh my God.
Turned back, she was gone.
Yeah.
So we are assuming that was Madeline. I don't know what I was looking at, but yeah, so we've had a lot of experience with her.
Yeah, what a way to appease her too. I mean, again, when we were first there, we would kind of try to interact with her a lot in the main gallery, but it's just one of the many crazy things that go on there. So the Creeper Gallery is in New Hope, Pennsylvania, which is a really cool town. You got the bridge that goes over to Jersey, lots of shops, lots of restaurants, lots of cool things. Take a trip there. You can see it for yourself. Donna's there on Sunday, but the shop is open on Saturday as well. And make a day of it. Yeah, there's lots to do around there.
Oh, yeah, it's always busy. And
remember, don't be afraid to go to that monument and put a 50 or 20 on there.
But you got to talk about the auction coming up. The auction coming up.
Right.
The auction, is next Friday night at 8 o'clock on Facebook Live.
And we will be there.
And I'll be there.
All right, Donna.
Good
seeing you again. We'll see you next Friday.
I'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you when we see you. All right, Donna. Take it easy.
Bye.